There's been a viral video going around of a police officer seemingly choking a woman and choke slamming her because she was refusing to wear a mask. This took place in Australia. Many people were sharing it, saying things like, this is getting out of hand, it's getting nuts. And, I saw the video and I said, sure, whatever. There's probably a lot of context I don't know here, so it's important to make sure we get all the facts. Well, as it turns out, this woman was in fact being at least held by the neck. Apparently, the officer was trying to keep her head turned so she couldn't spit on him. That's what some people are saying, though she was saying things like, I can't breathe. And he does choke slam her to the ground. I woke up this morning and I was browsing Reddit, and I came across this subreddit, Justice Served. Yes, people love justice. They love seeing videos of people who do bad things getting their comeuppance. Sure enough, this video is posted to the subreddit, but it's not just posted to it. The moderators have placed it at the top, stickied it, meaning it remains there by force, whether you like it or not, and they call it police justice. This video is horrifying. It's got 37,478 upvoted points. And the comments are, it's so absurd, it's actually hilarious. What we are seeing is overt authoritarianism in Australia, where they are physically abusing a woman for not wearing a mask. And here's the best part. My friends, why do you think it is I'm talking about this? Is it because it's shocking to see police body slamming a woman to the ground? Or could it be that she had a medical exemption? That's right. The police never actually fined or charged this woman because it turns out she did in fact have a medical exemption. So the police were harassing a woman who wasn't supposed to be wearing a mask for medical reasons, and they physically attack her and then charged her with resisting arrest. Welcome to real authoritarianism. And they call this justice. The left says it's justice when a cop illegally, for no reason, body slams a woman while choking her. What happened to I can't breathe? The scary thing about it is that many of the comments on the Reddit thread are praising this, saying you get what you deserve. Look at the title they used. This is how the Australian police will deal with you if you treat public health and safety directives as a threat to your masculinity or nut job conspiracy. Amazing. Except the reality is, this is how the Australian police will deal with you if you have a medical exemption and they make assumptions about what you should be doing by edict. Well, she was following the law. To be fair, she gave the cop the business, okay? He was asking her questions and she was like, basically F off. And so he decided to get physical and abuse this woman, which is insane. I tell you what, man, in Australia, it seems like you don't have the same rights you would get in a country like the US. I think that's fairly obvious. We have something great called the Constitution. It's being torn apart. It's being crapped all over. And I'm more and more worried every day when I see things like 1.5 million subscribers on Justice Served, and they're claiming that police brutalizing a woman who did nothing wrong is justice. At the same time, what would they say about George Floyd? I find it very interesting. Well, I want to show you this. I want to show you the inversion. This is what you get from the left. They praise this. They cheer for it. Now, you have your choice. You can join the right, which is a large tent full of liberals, moderates, conservatives, Trump supporters, and libertarians. Or you can join the left, which is anti-Trump resistance people, not really liberals, because actual liberals, they're not into this stuff, or the far left. That's what you can choose. Now, on the far left, you'll get brutalized by cops. They will riot in your neighborhoods. They will destroy your businesses. On the right, you will get support for police. They'll defend your business. They'll defend the police. They'll still be critical of police brutality for sure, like Glenn Beck and Rush Limbaugh, for instance, criticized the police in the George Floyd incident. I can respect that. And you will get this. Smash Mouth lead singer says, F that COVID-S during packed concert at Sturgis after 250,000 rowdy bikers gathered in South Dakota for annual rally amid pandemic. Take a look at these photos, man. These people are having a good time. Now, I'll tell you this. Listen, I want to read you the story about what happened with this woman, give you some hard facts about how she had a medical exemption and they didn't charge her for anything. The point I'm trying to make is, perhaps you find yourself on the left. You don't like the idea that hundreds of thousands of people don't care about a pandemic and they're going to make things worse. I can respect that position. I can't respect the authoritarian position of abusing a woman while you just came out and condemned the police before for choking a guy. To me, it reeks of pure hypocrisy. But let me just remind you, when they say defund the police, they don't actually want to end the police. They want to be the police. They want to replace the police with themselves. They've already done it. When they get attacked, they say, help, help, call the police. When they are attacking someone else, they say, abolish the police. Police are pigs. All cops are bad. So if you would like to, side with the right, and I don't mean like every single person, you'll be at a party, you'll be enjoying food, and, you'll do what you want to do. They'll tell you to, F that authoritarian, whatever, nonsense. You join the left, they will mock you as you are beaten by police or by the rioters. Here's the story. Police seen choking woman in video for not wearing face mask. There it is. Bystanders recorded footage of a physical altercation between a Melbourne police officer and a woman over a face mask yesterday, with the officer apparently choking the woman in the viral video. The video shows police talking to the 21-year-old St. Kilda woman on a street in Collingwood. The woman appeared to attempt to walk away, but was blocked by the officer, who grabbed her and put his hands up to her neck. The woman shouted, "He's choking me." As the woman resisted, there was a struggle along the street. The officer still had a firm grip on the woman as she continued to plead, "He's choking me," and screamed, "Get off of me." A female police officer approached the woman as the male officer pinned her to the wall. The woman being choked kicked in the direction of the female officer as she started to approach. "Look what you are doing over a mask," said the man filming the video during the altercation. "She's got an excuse for not wearing a mask," he is heard saying in the video. "She went to the doctor yesterday." "What about your 1.5 meter distancing," said the man in the video to the police. "You're hypocrites. Ask yourself why you're attacking us. Effing citizens," the man filming said. "Why am I under arrest?" asked the woman repeatedly. "Assault." The woman is heard saying, "You grabbed me. I did not assault you." So the woman went to the doctor. She got a mask exemption. The cop attacks her physically and then accuses her of assault. Yeah, man. And they claim to want to abolish the police, but they're cheering for this now. Okay, maybe not all of them, but they're claiming they want to defund the police, but they're cheering for this now. What do you think would happen if the police in every jurisdiction did everything the left said? They would say, praise the police, release the looters, release the rioters, and defend us from our enemies, and we will support you, they say. That's what they're saying right now. Choke the woman. Ha ha ha. It's funny. It's justice. That's what you could expect. Quote, "I'm Chris Scott from Melbourne West Police Station," said the officer after being asked by the man filming. A representative from Victoria Police told Newsweek that the woman refused to provide identification for breaching the chief health officer's directions in Collingwood on Monday. Officers were patrolling on Wellington Street when they observed a 21-year-old woman not wearing a face covering about 5 p.m. on the 10th of August. Police made the decision to arrest the woman after she failed to provide her name and address. She also did not state she had an exemption for not wearing a face covering. She then became physically aggressive and kicked a female officer to the upper body. The woman continued to resist arrest and had to be taken to the ground before being arrested. The female officer was transported to hospital for observation. The St. Kilda woman was taken to a police station to confirm identity and has been charged with resist police and assault police. I guess it's the Australian way they frame it. She did not receive a fine for failing to wear a face covering because she later told the police she had an exemption. Here's the issue. I don't like the idea of her kicking the cop. I think that was a mistake. But I don't like the idea of a cop walking up to a woman and grabbing her by the throat and choke slamming her over this. I don't like the idea of the cops doing to George Floyd either. Be consistent in your complaints. I will absolutely criticize this woman for giving the cop the business when she didn't need to. She needed to only say, here's who I am. I have a medical exemption. How does that sound? Be polite. She wanted to get rough and rowdy at the cops, and this is what ends up happening. However, while I could understand them doing something like calling in backup and saying, we're going to fine you, or come on, man, to be completely honest, just being like, okay, fine, whatever, backing away and letting the woman walk around without a mask on. It's absurd. Or they could have asked her, listen, we don't want to escalate. Do you have an exemption? Is there a reason you're not wearing a mask? Okay, fine. You got to choose your battles. And the police choose to choke slam a person. We got a problem. I have absolutely no problem criticizing the police when they do this, especially in Australia. I have no problem criticizing the police in New Jersey, in Dallas, in New York, who enforce unconstitutional edict in the United States. I do not like seeing people choke slam someone like George Floyd or this woman. Now, mind you, the body cam footage for George Floyd came out, and it paints a very, very different picture. He was resisting quite a bit, and he kicked his way out of the car. But more importantly, he also said, hold me on the ground several times. That's a very complicated story. I do not like the police, how they engage with a lot of people. I do not like what the police engage with here. But let's be real. How can you, ignoring the nuance of a situation, praise these officers, praise them, while condemning the officers in Minneapolis? It is pure hypocrisy, absolute hypocrisy. Again, I will stress, a cop comes up to you, man, I can only advise you as per the United States. What I would say is, depending on the circumstances, and it's most circumstances, I don't answer questions. That's it. End of story. Am I being detained? Okay. Am I free to go? Thank you. I won't. I'm sorry, man. I am somebody who is a bit of a bickerer about my rights, and I'm on my own business. I don't know if you can do that in Australia. So I'll tell you what, if a cop takes it from asking you a question or stopping you and then flips it to choking you and slamming you on the ground, I'm not a fan. I err on the side of freedom over security. And I got to tell you, this was absolutely not necessary. Absolutely not. Now, here's what's scary. Look, let's go over to justice served. They say, why you just follow the effing rules? This S is great. Tired of all these effing losers. Now, we're starting to get a mix here. I'm confused. Is this good or is this bad? Don't want to get on the wrong side of the Reddit hive mind, that's for sure. For pretending to be liberals, you guys sure do get hard as F watching police F with people. Yup. They pretend, this subreddit specifically, they got the rainbow flag, they say no racism. They pretend to be on the left, but they love posting videos of police beating people. People who don't see the difference between this and police murdering peaceful protesters in America's streets are the reason for our country regressing. The poster conveniently left out the part of the video that shows what led up to her arrest. I thought chokeholds were bad. Is that only with the black guys? No, because in America, they would have shot that person in the back 23 times and then beat their body with clubs. This is what you get in the conversation. I'm sorry, man. Listen, if you believe this woman should have just complied and this wouldn't have happened, I can respect it. And I think that's actually fairly true. Whether or not you have to comply with police is a different story. In the United States, you don't, for the most part, depending. And in Australia, I guess you do. The only complaint I really have is the lack of consistency from the left. Okay, you've got a situation where this woman is being, attacked by a cop, thrown to the ground and choked, and they cheer for it. Let's jump over to the other side, to what's going on over on the right. Man, let me tell you what. If you take a regular person and you show them a video of a woman being choked and slammed to the ground, they're going to be like, man, that's scary. That's really scary. Over a mask? Wow, that's scary. You then show them this video of Smash Mouth cheering to a big happy crowd, and they're all celebrating. And he's like, man, F that S, we're having a good time. Yay, cheering. And it's exactly what I've been saying for a long time. Here's how I've tried explaining to people the problem of the left versus the right in this country. You're standing in the middle of the street. To your left is a bar. To your right is a bar. On the left side, you have a bunch of angry leftists smashing windows and screeching and screaming. On the right, it's a bunch of regular looking guys having beers. You look over to the left and they say, hey, ignore those guys. They're fascists. Come here. You walk over. What do? They question you. They challenge you. They tell you to shut your mouth and do as you're told. And you back away like, whoa. You walk over to the right and what do you get? You get a bunch of dudes with beer saying like, hey, man, let me get you a beer. Come over here. I'll get your drink. Let's have a conversation about politics. That's what we're seeing right now at mass scale. On the left, they will cheer when the police beat you if you're not on their side. On the right, they will say, F all that stuff. Come on, man, let's have a good time. Look at this. The Sturgis motorcycle rally continued for its fourth day on Monday after a raucous concert on Sunday night in which coronavirus concerns were laughed off by the lead singer and maskless masses. Steve Harwell, the 53-year-old frontman of Smash Mouth, opened his band set with a rant caught on video against the virus, which has killed more than 160K. F that COVID S, he yelled. Experts have warned that gathering, which is expected to bring 250,000 people to the city of 7,000, had the potential to become a super spreader event. That's not true. All they have to do is hold up a sign that reads Black Lives Matter, and then all of a sudden the virus will stop spreading, right? I'm kidding. The excuse we often hear from the left is, well, when they protest, they wear masks. Yes, when they riot, they wear masks, and many are wearing masks, but shut up. This idea that like wearing a mask prevents all spread is the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Then you get them mocking people. They say like Herman Cain, for instance, had COVID, and they say, and he wasn't wearing a mask. Like he refused to wear a mask, and now he dies of COVID. And it's like, I thought COVID wasn't supposed to stop you from catching it. I'm sorry. I thought the mask wasn't supposed to stop you from catching it, but to stop you from spreading it. Is that what their complaint is about? Listen, just because you're wearing a mask doesn't mean you stop the spread. That's ridiculous. Of course, people will take their mask off to eat. People, have to take their mask off for a variety of reasons. Okay. And it's still the water droplets and the virus can still come out of the mask too at a much lower rate. So I'll tell you what, you may spread more at an event like this. Sure. Well, that's their choice, I guess. But you're still definitely going to be spreading at a protest. So if they're trying to claim that we're wearing masks, therefore protests don't spread, oh, shut up. There was a direct increase following correlating with these protests, that there was an increase in COVID. Sparsely populated South Dakota has been relatively spared by the pandemic so far. As of Monday night, there have been 146 deaths and 9,500 cases. Gee, and they never locked down. How weird is that? Again, you go to a conservative state with Republicans, your business remains open. There was a big list of stats on states and their GDP, and South Dakota was one of the only ones that actually ticked up a little bit. Everybody else was clapping. South Dakota, man. I guess you should move there. The Buffalo Chip, a campground hosting many of the bikers and putting on concerts, was reportedly at half capacity, but many of those attending were not wearing face masks. Smash Mouth's manager, however, praised the organizers for the work done beforehand and said the band members were confident of their own safety and their crew. The promoter did a fantastic job with their COVID protocol. He told Billboard they had a very strict social distancing and mask policy in place for all workers. Everything backstage was sanitized. The band has their own COVID addendum to their rider, as well as the promoter and venue adhered to all of our requests. We spent endless hours advancing this event to make sure that it was pulled off as safely as possible, and we are very happy with the outcome. Take a look at this photo. All these bikers, all these bikes are spaced in parking lots with dividers, like a normal parking lot, and they're separated from each other. Is it 6 feet? Actually, from person to person on the bikes, it may actually be just about 6 feet. So I'll tell you this. If they're sanitizing backstage, if they're, properly spacing and social distancing and doing what they're supposed to be doing, why should we assume this will be a super spreader event? Oh, because it's not a Black Lives Matter riot. I guess that's how it works, right? Hayes said Smash Mouth felt very good from the stage. However, as performers, he said they did not have any control over which protocols the attendees followed. That said, most of all of them were on their motorcycles, which eliminated a lot of the physical contact between attendees and actually created a forced social distance. That's true. The Smash Mouth organization is taking this pandemic very seriously and has taken measures to keep our band, crew, and fans as safe as possible during this time. On Saturday night, a ZZ Top tribute band played to packed maskless crowds. Willie Nelson and Lynyrd Skynyrd were due to play but pulled out due to the pandemic. At Monday's rally press conference, Jody Van de Water, Sturgis police chief, said his department has had 65 fewer calls than last year, but there have been more misdemeanor drug arrests and non-injury incidents. The Department of Public Safety reported that police made 84 arrests from driving under the influence or drug-related offenses during a 24-hour period spanning from Saturday into Sunday morning. That's up from last year when 76 people had been arrested in a similar time frame. Okay, here's the point. Whatever your opinion is, I can understand if you're critical of Sturgis because you're worried about the spread, but I can't stand for the hypocrisy. The idea that the protesters are all wearing masks is wrong and not true. Look at any of the photos and you will see, well, many are, many aren't. Many are not wearing masks. Okay, we have seen videos of politicians also not wearing masks out in public. If you are upset with this and you are not upset with the Black Lives Matter protests, you're a hypocrite. If you're cheering for a woman being choke slammed to the ground and held down while she yells, "I can't breathe," for not wearing a mask, but you're upset about George Floyd, you are a hypocrite. And that's what we can get. The issue here, well, I understand that the initial, the other videos, and it's in Australia, it's not in the United States, but it shows you the sentiment of many Americans. We are facing morality government. I've been telling you it's going to be coming for quite some time, and you can see the divide. What will happen beyond November, as I always say, is beyond me, but take a look at South Dakota. No lockdown. They threw a parade for their governor. They're holding a big rally and they're laughing and partying together. Meanwhile, in New Jersey, the governor is threatening small businesses. He's forcing them to close. He's arresting people. New York's doing similar things. It is a nightmare dystopia of authoritarianism in blue states, and things seem relatively chill for the most part in the red states. Now, what does that mean? I honestly, It means that the Republicans are having an easier go of things, I guess. It means that the Sunbelt states that didn't lock down are doing a lot better than those that did. And surprisingly, New York and New Jersey, where basically the epicenter was, and I say New Jersey because of the New York Metro into the Jersey side, these are Democrat-run places. They did everything wrong, yet they're being praised for doing everything right. Why is it that we didn't see a super spreader, a super spread in all these other states? There's no reason for it. Tell me why it was New York and not Los Angeles. Tell me why it was Los Angeles, why it was New York and not, say, South Dakota. There's no reason. If the spread per person, it could be population density, I suppose. But that doesn't explain why Chicago and LA weren't hit as hard as New York. It's because New York failed. New York failed. And if you want to stay in these authoritarian places, fine. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to go out to the middle of nowhere and get away from all these crazy people. That's just the easiest way to put it. South Dakota seems like a safe bet. They're taking care of their people, not too many people there in the first place, and they're having a good time of it. I'm going to stay away from these places where you've got liberals cheering for police brutality when it benefits them and decrying it when it affects their ideology or their political point of view. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 4 p.m. over at timcast.net. Thanks for hanging out, and I will see you all there.